Flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be rarer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like Samantha, MacGyver. Alchemy on the track, make it lava. And I won't stop rocking till I retire. Singular or plural, she break numero uno. Colder than
I'm out of money, aka Trap, and welcome to episode 9 of Ass Trap. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get it. It's been a long time. I should have left you without a strong rhyme to step to. Think how many whack shows you. Is it whack? Man, I be fucking that shit up all the time. But let's get into it. Thank you guys so much for participating in this. You know, I love doing this. You feel me? But let's see what we can get into now. First question comes from my guy, Def Soldier. Make sure you tap into him because he has a lot of firework out there. How long do you listen to a song before you realize it's trash? Hey, yo, listen, I don't care who you are. You know something is trash the minute that you're listening to it. Now, that's why I always say, like, you know, you shouldn't sit around and brainwash yourself into keep like listening to stuff to stuff like, yo, you know if you like it or not. You know if you like it or not fucking 30 seconds in, 60 seconds in. Now some shit will trick you into thinking that it's a good song, and then when you get to the end of it you be like, that shit wasn't a good song. So it varies, but usually like straight off the rip. That's why they say, you know, you only got a couple of seconds to hold somebody's attention. You better make sure you take that shit to heart when you're doing this type of shit right here, because everybody's attention span is not where it needs to be at, to be honest with you. So if that shit ain't popping off for the first couple seconds, first couple bars, you ain't getting, especially a new artist, you ain't hitting somebody over the head with something like, wow, that shit getting turned off really though, really fast though. 60 seconds or under. Let's go. Thank you for your question, Def. You feel me? Next question comes from Ken XOXO82, Ken Oxenford. What happened to proper hip-hop groups? Everyone is either solo or part of a collective these days. Well, first things first, if you're going to be part of a group, you got to be able to hold people's attention for 3 verses. You heard? It's crazy as hell. You know, it's weird. The whole thing of like groups, everybody doesn't stay together. There's like no loyalty when it comes down to groups, even in the past. And once that the one that everybody gravitates to more gets that niche that they're hotter than the other people in the group, they leave, they split. So a lot of people done seen that. It ain't a lot of like crews out there no more. And man, like, just to have, it's not a lot of even like R&B groups no more. We can't even just take that into like consideration with hip hop either. Like, I don't know, just like this thing of having so many people there, I really think it's money based too as well. Like, you feel me? Why be part of a group and split things up 3 ways when you could motherfucking get the shit off yourself if you that hot? It's crazy, but it really like leans into like, you know, just the shortness of songs now. Songs are like 2 minutes long. You feel me? Niggas is crying if a song actually has 3 verses and shit like that and all of this stuff. So it's really weird. But I appreciate your question, Ken. But that shit resonating all across the board. It's even like going into hip hop. It's crazy. My guy Lucky has hit me with a plethora of questions. Let's see what he got going on here. What artists do you think their content is redundant and their cadences is not even helping to make them enjoyable? It's crazy because the first thing that just comes to my mind here is one, well, everybody's content is redundant. Let's just get that straight. But once you get tired and sick of artists keep talking about the same thing and stuff like that, Rick Ross is one of them. It's a couple. Like, if you don't find creative ways to even be redundant, if that makes sense, it ain't gonna pop off. So I want to know who you think. You be asking these questions, but who do you think is like that? Next question on here: have you been checking out the Papoose monthly releases? Yes, I have. I've been listening to the Papoose January, February, March, April, May, June, and all of this shit like that. Being that Flea Lord did like an album a month last year, you feel me? I figured with a project like this, I was gonna come in at the end of the year and pick all like the hottest joints out. I didn't want to keep talking about it over and over and over again. I found that I didn't even do that for Flea Lord last year, to be honest with you. I just picked the hottest ones out of there. But I'm like, Papoose, he has his own fan base and his own lane and stuff like that. I will get around to it probably at the end of the year. I'll talk about it. But they've been all right. I ain't mad at them. You feel me? I ain't mad at them. Next question on here. Do you think Rick Ross still has it in him to be releasing projects with his fairy tale drug kingpin concepts? And yo, most of these rappers have fairy tale drug kingpin concepts, Lucky. A lot of them. Most of them. I'm mad that I pulled out Rick Ross, but you brung him up too. That probably was who you was talking about in that first question as well. You got a hatred for Ross out here that's digging deep and showing through in the work here. Do you think out of all the director's cut series that part 3 is the best? If so, why or why not? No, I think part 2 is the best. My personal opinion, part 2 is the best. I think the production on part 2 is very strong, as well as all the little things that go attached to it, even how it turns on that even that is very, very, and it's a beat switch on the first track and stuff like that. And Ransom is just doing his thing. I really like 2 better. I like 2 better out of the whole series, just to be honest with you. But thank you so much, Lucky, for your questions. You heard? Next question comes from Obi the God. What do folks mean when they say for the culture? Mickey Fax said there are no rules in arts. What's all your take on that? Well, these 2 different questions that I wrote one time together. When folks say for the culture, I do this for the culture to let them know what a nigga look like when a nigga's in a roaster. All right, that means that you put it on for the culture. You showing the best of yourself. You're applying yourself, and you're bringing the best to the table. You feel me? You're making moments. When you do things for the culture, you're making moments. Now that's one way of looking at it. Also, if you really about the culture as well, you do like behind the scenes shit. Like I would say, I'm for the culture because like I don't charge for reviews, I don't take niggas money, I don't do anything like that. So I'm for the culture in that respect. Also get flying jiggy and shit like that when I go out and stuff like that. I like to put on for my city, for my squad, for myself. Cause ain't no squad, you feel me? But that's also for the culture. So it's when people use that shit in a derogatory shit. Like let's say a bitch go out there and she's ass naked and she doing all of this and they said she doing it for the culture. Nah, she ain't really doing that for the culture. You feel me? Like that ain't really for the culture. So it depends on what you take from it. So one is like styling and stunting on niggas, you doing it for the culture, and the next one is like the real work and integrity that you have when you're doing things about the culture. Now, the second part of this, Mickey Fax said there are no rules in art. What's your take on that? Yo, I'm so sick of niggas keep saying that there are no rules in art, but they don't respect everybody's art. Now we have a whole trap music movement sound, dominating the charts, making all this money, making all these artists rich and shit like that. But they don't want to call that shit art. That's art to them, no, but y'all don't respect that as art. But then you say, there's no rules in art, but y'all won't respect that aspect of art. Y'all will say, you know what I mean? Y'all say that's not hip hop, that's not rap, that's not this, that, and the third. Yes, it is. They're rapping. You feel me? That's their art form. They're in that trap lane. That's what they're doing there. So, dog, it is definitely rules to this shit because y'all apply it to yourselves. Y'all don't make sure it's just like one cohesive thing when y'all do that. Like the lyrical miracle niggas and shit like that is not respecting trap music's art. Like y'all don't. So you say there's no rules, but y'all apply rules anytime y'all get a chance, or anything new get introduced in hip-hop. It's always a fucking rules. It is. It's like, come on, dog. They be doing too much. But thank you so much, Obi to God. I appreciate you all day and night. Next question comes up here from Expat Gutta, Mr. DJ. Name your 5 most underappreciated non-East Coast based rappers. It's crazy. Let me tell you something. Let me. All right. Now, I realize that there's a lot of underappreciated East Coast rappers when I think about this, but some off the top, damn, I want to say like Ludacris is underappreciated. The DLC, he's underappreciated. Niggas like Zero is underappreciated. Um, damn, it's a couple, it's a couple, it's a couple, it's a couple. People like Tech Nine that have their own like fan base and stuff like that. They're underappreciated. Mr. DJ, let me tell you what I do in my spare time, because sometimes I like to make myself laugh, and sometimes I have a surplus of money where I don't mind fucking up sometimes, right? So I was I live near AC, so I was in AC, I was on the boardwalk, and I was going up to people. I didn't want to film them because I ain't really into all of that shit like that, because I really not into all of that, right? And I asked somebody, for $50, can you name me one Lil Boosie track? For $50, can you name me one Lil Boosie track? Now, Lil Boosie is a forefront. He's always controversial. He's always saying something. He's always up there speaking and stuff like that. Nobody knows his music. Does that make him underappreciated in the game? No. And it's just weird that I try to tie that shit in together like that just to let you know what I be doing in my off time. But nobody could name me now one Lil Boosie track for $50. Crazy, right? So thank you for your question. Just think about that, like, underappreciated. You could be appreciated in this, but not be appreciated lyrically, or vice versa. Shit's weird. Next question comes from Daddy86. Couple of questions actually. Who had the better 2021, Conway or Freddie Gibbs? Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs had the best 2021. He got more notoriety than he has ever had before. Conway, he's building himself up there. He had a strong better 2021. We're in 2021 now. So I don't know if you meant last year or this year. Or this year, everybody's on the same level right now. But if you're talking about last year, definitely Freddie Gibbs. Is waiting for a Kendrick album a waste of time? Like, dog, are you really waking up in the morning and like anticipating fucking Kendrick Lamar album like he's the mailman bringing you a fucking check? Like when we say like it's waiting for it a waste of time, we ain't got nothing else to do but to wait for it until it drop. You heard? Like, it's all good. Do you see a resurgence of real lyrical talent in the mainstream hip hop? It's getting there. It's getting there. It's crazy as hell because we're seeing these little glimpses and pieces of it happening. Like Benny the Butcher just did the NBA draft intro, and he does the Bills, Buffalo Bills song and stuff like that. So everybody's creeping in there. But I'm gonna tell you, you still need a fucking banger. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what none of these rap niggas tell me, talk to me, or do anything about that. The most way for you to get the visibility that you require is to be on the fucking charts. Ain't no way of getting around that. And that's why y'all letting all these motherfucking floozy ass bitches and all of these, fucking whack ass niggas get all this notoriety because you're not trying to take that shit from them. You're not trying to take it from them. Y'all want the shit to come to you. That's crazy. But thank you so much, Daddy86, for your question. Next question comes from Malik Hughes Malcolm. Who's the artist that you didn't like that much or at all initially, but eventually grew on you very positively? And what was it that clicked? I'm not that nice of a person. Usually if I don't like an artist, I don't like an artist. I don't give an artist time to do all this other fucking shit around me. Like, if the artist does something that turns me off in the beginning, like, I'm turned off. I can't do nothing about that. Like, it's nothing I'm gonna be like, I didn't like him at first, but now I like him. I don't really get down like that. It might be one or two out there, but I can't think of it off the top of the head because I ain't really like that, period. Like, I'm not. So thank you so much, Malcolm. Next question comes from my girl Nan Lived. You feel me? Let's go. Who's your favorite lady producers right now? It's crazy. What I want to do right here, I want to highlight That Blessed Girl. I want to highlight That Blessed Girl. She did Jamal Gasol's Black Balls EP. I want to highlight her. I want to give her that shine and that light because I feel like she has something there. She needs to just, get some more work out there and build on what she does. But I really, really appreciate That Blessed Girl. So get him, girl. You heard? All right. Next question comes with questions. Jesus. Comes from Precious Gorgeous Ralph. Ralph, I'm going to tell you right now. you have this thing about people being more emotional, and you're tying it into hip hop, and you would like us as a community to be more emotional. Let me ask you a question. What community do you see hold that type of emotion and put it out there like that? Isn't emotional, being emotional, something a very personal thing? Why are you trying to make that a standard of a community? What community does that? What is an openly emotional community, especially when it comes down to their music? Most music that comes out across other communities and stuff like that is fucking fun, having fun music, or it might be heartbreak, or it might be this, or it might be that. The same thing that we do in hip hop. So where do you find that we are less emotional than fucking any other community or anything like that? You sound like fucking Post Malone to me, and it makes me sick that you're not giving our community enough credit to know that we're fucking emotional as well as hard too. Jesus. But anyway, into the questions. In the end, are we evaluating rappers by their verses, their songs, or by their albums? In the end, we are evaluating artists by their albums and their impact. That's what we're doing at the end. Because look at somebody like Fabulous, who have all these fire verses and all these this, that, the third, and no classic albums. We evaluate them by their albums. You feel me? Their whole impact gets taken away because they don't have the fucking album. So it's about albums, to be honest with you, because that's where you really show yourself to be a full ranged artist, a real artist, where you could put it together one cohesive project that is deemed like, high up there on the list, if not a classic. So we're judging them on albums. At the end of the day, it's about album, to be honest with you. Next question you had: how do you rank Wyclef? Oh my God. Like, yo, I love Wyclef so much. That's why The Carnival is in my top 5 albums of all time. That'll never change. Y'all treat Wyclef like he's some type of like one hit wonder ass nigga. Like, and like, oh gosh, his fucking thing go back so far from the Fugees, and them breaking up and becoming. Here's a quick thing that just came to my mind. How many groups in hip hop have actually broken up, and the majority of their members have gone on to have a substantial amount of respect? The Fugees is like maybe the only one of these groups where it was the three of them, they split up. Wyclef had all of the success by himself. Lauryn Hill had all of the success by herself. How many more other groups have done that, like in hip hop history? Answer that in the comments below for me, because it's really this thing. But Wyclef, because he hasn't been consistently good. Like, he had this run, and then it was like over. You feel me? Everybody treat him like he is a one-hit wonder, but he have a special place in my heart, to be honest with you. Is Kevin Gates a factor anymore? No. And I like to say it's because once you, as a rapper, if you're not a major artist, and even this happens to them, like once you go to jail and you have all these stigmatisms and shit attached to you, same shit's happening to Kodak Black. He had a lot of success before he went to jail. Once you get out of jail, once you let that time pass, you're forgotten about. And then you start doing all type of like you start doing all type of weirdo type shit to try to stay in the limelight, or try to get that momentum back that you had before you went to jail and shit like that. And that shit just don't work out like that. It don't work out like that. So see a factor anymore? No. Could that change tomorrow? Yes, depending on the type of music that he puts out. Last real fire project we had from was like Luca Brasi 3 or something like that. But I don't think he'll ever get to that same level he was at before all of this stupid ass legal shit happened. I don't think that'll happen to Kodak either, to be honest with you. Next question here. Goddamn, how many questions you asked me? Is Scarface a top lyricist to you? Of course. Scarface is a top lyricist, and not only that, like, yo, your favorite rapper, Scarface is one of their favorite rappers. Like, some of us, I don't know everybody's age range and shit like that. We probably just wasn't around when them shits came out and was impactful like that. So we're prejudging things like, the Diary and the Fix off of hearing it after the fact or being put onto it after the fact. But yes, he is the top lyricist. He's the top lyricist to every lyricist you fucking know. Next question: where does Future rank to you? Rank in what? Like, yo, that's where you start separating genres and shit like that. Because where does he rank in trap music? Like, number one, right? When he ranked number one in trap music with the Migos there and this one and that one, you feel me? Where does he rank in, like, this side? Nowhere. Like, you feel me? So it's weird. That's where you start dividing shit up at. Because Future, he a legend in his own right, but he ain't legendary, I don't think. That's the difference. Next question on here: do artists without ghostwriters or co-writers make better songs than artists that have them? How would you know? How would you know? How would you know that? You wouldn't know that. So you don't know who's ghostwriting or co-writing for people. If it's a true ghostwriters, and do they make better songs than if they don't? You don't know that. You don't know that, not whatsoever. Next question you got on here: is Awakening My Love hip hop? No. That is R&B, that's funk, that's all these other things. That ain't none of that stuff, not whatsoever. Not one piece of it, it ain't. Not at all. So, thank you for your questions, Ralph. Next question on here: LSD on the beat. Which two MCs do you want to see link up for a collaborative album? I want to see Willie the Kid and Riggs. I want to see Willie the Kid and Rome Streets. That's what I'm on right now, right here today. You heard? So thank you so much for your question. My God, J Baby is salute to you, my nigga. In your opinion, who would you say are hip hop's most creative rappers? Most creative rappers in hip hop history. You got Missy. You got Eminem. You have Busta Rhymes. You have Kendrick recently. It's weird too because Joyner Lucas is so creative, but nobody gives a fuck. Like, nobody cares that he's that creative at all. Like, it's crazy. Then you got, like Kanye's and all of that stuff, but nobody don't care. Like, it's weird. Nobody cares. So I think I've answered everybody's questions. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. You heard. Make sure y'all stay tuned in. A lot of reviews dropping. But I'm about to get out of here. I'm Meta Money. You can follow me on Twitter and IG at Meta Money Says. That's MADAMMONEYSAYS. And as always, I'll be seeing you guys around. Peace.
Ready, steady, aim at the target. I'm flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be rarer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like Samantha, MacGyver. Alchemy on the track, make it lava. And I won't stop rocking till I retire. Singular or plural, she rank numero uno. Colder than you know.